In today's video, I will be ranking all legends in Season 15 from worst to best. Now, although there were no direct legend changes in the patch notes, the meta has shifted with the introduction to New Moon and Catalyst. This video will help you to find your new main or help you to decide who to unlock next, and we have 23 legends to cover, so let's get right into it. First up, making up the D tier as the worst legend in Apex, we have Revenant. And before you Rev mains get mad and leave the video, hear me out. This isn't necessarily a bad thing for Rev. What I mean by this is I believe that Rev is the most deserving of a buff because he desperately needs one. He has a huge hitbox and his ultimate ability can be decent when paired with other abilities. However, you have to utilize other legends to pair with him to make him really useful at all. I'm not really sure how they should buff him because he has had a downward trend since Octane's pad now makes audio, and then they made that visual and sound adjustments to his ultimate as well. But I want to hear your all's opinion though. How would you guys buff Revenant, or do you think there's a worse legend in the game? Let me know in the comments. Now, moving on from D tier into C tier, we have 5 legends here. First up in C tier, we have Mirage, and like Revenant, he doesn't provide a ton of utility to help his team. Overall, he is a selfish legend. Yes, Mirage could be viable in a solos mode, but Apex is a 3v3 game, and there are just so many other legends that are offensive that provide more value and utility to your team other than Mirage. Lifeline is our next legend in C tier, and that is mainly due to power creep. Newcastle was buffed massively in Apex Legends Season 14, and if you want to provide support and defense to your team, I just don't see what Lifeline brings to the table that Newcastle doesn't. Lifeline's heal drone is pretty basic, and the care package can be nice, but it takes 3.5 minutes to get. Also draws tons of attention to your team. Lifeline's best ability in her kit is her passive, and that involves your team being in a bad scenario to even be applicable. Why not use Newcastle, who will help your team from getting knocked versus needing your teammates to go down for Lifeline to shine? Our next legend in the C tier category is our Season 14 legend, Vantage. Maybe I'm being a bit tough on her, but frankly, I just don't see her team utility or usefulness. The sniper ultimate is nice, and you do get one free shot every 20% of her ultimate. However, the laser sight is a dead giveaway. It reveals her position, and there are just better legends that can fit and play her role. Honestly, I feel like Valkyrie can play her game just flat out better, being able to take off angles with height, and Valk has other abilities to complement the team as well. After Vantage, we have Crypto, and this legend is one of the hardest to rank in the entire game because I believe that a strong Crypto player can maybe make this legend A tier in game because of how useful his drone can be. I even ran Crypto last season when I hit Masters, and that showed how good Crypto can be, especially in the Seer meta, because his EMP directly counters Seer's ultimate. However, most players struggle to master Crypto, and it's just much easier to play a quicker scanning legend like Bloodhound or Seer in this current meta. Our last legend rounding out the C tier is Fuse, and maybe I'm just too biased, but I really don't find Fuse as a viable offensive legend, at least for me, and that's mainly due to his lackluster ultimate. There are plenty of times when a Fuse shoots their ring of fire at me, and I'm able to just walk right out of it without any kind of issues as it's landing. His passive is very good to carry and launch grenades, but I just feel like there are better offensive legends out there in my opinion. Now, let's get into the B tier legends, which are the average legends in the game, and our first legend is Rampart. Rampart can be extremely threatening with her minigun Sheila, and her walls are very good in the right scenario. If she has time to set up, she can be an incredible legend, but if she's caught out in the open, she struggles to really stay defensive. So Rampart is B tier this season for me. After Rampart, we have Mad Maggie, and Maggie was a legend that I loved running on Kings Canyon in ranked last season. She had hard counters for Newcastle with her riot drill, and she's extremely good with shotguns, and the Mastiff is now back on the floor. My only issue with Maggie this season is the openness of Broken Moon. Maggie excels in close quarters and in buildings, and then Broken Moon has tons of height and verticality, which causes Maggie to struggle at times. Bangalore has pretty much always been in my B tier, and her abilities are all pretty solid. The only real thing holding Bangalore back is the heavy scan meta that we are in. Sometimes smoke grenades actually help the enemy team if they throw down a Seer ult or decide to use a Bloodhound scan because you can't see them, but they can see you. Bang is solid and I like her a lot, but I just can't rank her higher than B tier this season. Catalyst, our newest legend added to the game, finds herself here in B tier, although I think this legend is one small buff away from being meta. Her passive ability is useful if doors are around, where she can barricade doors and control the pace of the fight. Her tactical ability is decent for using traps aggressively, and then her ultimate ability does counter some scans, but not totally. Seer is a complete counter to Catalyst, as his ultimate allows him to see through her wall, and with the popularity of Seer in the high ranked lobbies, Catalyst just really can't be higher than B tier for me. Loba is a solid legend at assisting her team to have maximum loot and to always stay stocked up on ammo and heals. She can really help your team early and in mid game. However, her abilities really mainly assist the team outside of gunfights versus during them, meaning her utility really kind of falls off for end game, so I just have her ranked in the B tier this season. Next up, Ashe is a legend that saw a brief rise in popularity with Stormpoint when that was a popular map for rank. Ashe excels on Stormpoint due to the major map verticality, and Broken Moon has some similar verticality just like Stormpoint. Ashe's passive is incredible with finding death boxes and choosing certain rotations and pushes, and her ultimate is a great ability for the entire team to quickly rotate, especially to height. Her tactical is just laughable to me, it hardly does anything, and Ashe is another legend that is one buff away from being meta defining. After Ashe, we have another legend that excels with verticality, and that's Pathfinder. Don't get me wrong, people that have mastered Path can be absolute demons out there in the Apex games. However, Path is just outclassed by other legends like Horizon. Path has a very large hitbox and doesn't really have a unique passive ability. What do you guys think Path should have as his passive? Any ideas? Let me know in the comments down below. Lastly, rounding out the B tier is Octane, and Octane is an extremely popular and fun legend. However, his usefulness and utility seems to drop off with Broken Moon. The zip rails really help for easy and quick rotating, so that takes some of his usefulness away. And yes, his pad can allow you to quickly get in or get out of a fight. However, I just feel like Broken Moon feels more like an open map like Stormpoint, and his pad doesn't feel as needed here. I know I'll probably catch some flack for this rating, but he just feels outclassed by some other legends that I'll mention later on. Now, moving into A tier, our first legend is Wattson. Wattson excels on Broken Moon. She's very good at holding down prime positioning on this map with her ultimate and her fences. Her hitbox is also pretty small, and her job is to just try and fortify and hold down the fort while your team can get to end game. She does need some extra time to set up and can struggle out in the open, but I do like her, and I like her in these buildings here that we can find on Broken Moon. Another lockdown legend, we have Caustic. I have Caustic rated a little bit higher than Wattson because he's able to be more aggressive with his ultimate ability and can make do with less cover and works well outside of buildings as well. Caustic, although is stinky, is still a stud and can really get you to end game in Apex Season 15. Wraith comes in as A tier for me, and that's mainly due to her solo queue potential. She's outclassed when it comes to versatility to help the team, but her ability to solo and be an absolute pest to teams is undeniable. There's a reason why your favorite streamers solo queue with Wraith, and it's because she's very good at getting out of danger, and her Q is very solid. If she can pretty much get that off, it can get her out of pretty much any situation. Now, Gibraltar hasn't really had any nerfs recently, however, we have seen him fall out of the meta. His only real recent change is that Maggie's ultimate Wrecking Ball now destroys his dome, but you honestly don't see very many Maggies running around in the current meta anyway. His bubble is one of the best abilities in the game, it still is, as it allows you to reset fights, it allows you to push fights, and it allows you to revive teammates in cover. Gibby is a beast, and he is an A tier legend. Bloodhound is an A tier legend in Apex Season 15 and does their job extremely well. Those wall scans are always going to be powerful when you can scan that wide of an area and gain that free information. Hound also gains speed and more aggression with that ultimate ability, but I just feel like Seer is the best overall scan legend, so we have Bloodhound here in A tier. Lastly, Valkyrie is the last A tier legend. Although she received several nerfs last season with her ultimate ability height, her jetpack maneuverability, and her missile barrage, she is still one of the best legends in the game. Her ultimate is insanely good at getting you out of bad situations, and you can use it to get out of nearly any scenario in the game. Her tactical is still effective, and her jetpacks are still very good at taking height and getting off angles for your team. Do not sleep on Valk, she's still very good. Moving on to the best legends in the game, our first S tier legend is Newcastle. To me, Newcastle is the best defensive legend and anchor to any team in the game. He is unique as he has extra mobility with his ultimate, and his tactical and ultimate can provide you with cover in the open for nearly any scenario. His passive ability is extremely clutch at reviving teammates as well. I highly recommend you master Newcastle and adding him to your squad. I just made an ultimate Newcastle guide recently if you guys want to check that out here. After Newcastle, we have Horizon. Horizon to me is a problem in Apex. She's too good. She gets height for absolutely free, and her passive ability is actually crazy if you know how to utilize her with movement. She's extremely difficult to hit with her tap strafes, and her ultimate is very good at blowing open doors and getting free damage and kills. Horizon is an insanely good legend, and honestly, I'd love to see her get a nerf. And then last but not least, we have the most dominant and overly powered legend in the game, Seer. Although Seer received a nerf in Season 10, he's still an extremely powerful legend. The ultimate ability seems to always be online each fight, and it gives your team constant wall hacks if you can't find it and you can't shoot it out. Now, his tactical ability also cancels other abilities, and it stops revives and healing items. If you know how to use Seer right, he's scary, and if you want easy wins, play Seer. He's insanely powerful. Even his passive is broken because you have unlimited scans through objects and walls, and enemies have no way of telling if Seer has picked them up on that heartbeat scan. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to know what your Apex Legends tier list is like and how it would be different from mine. Let me know in the comments below. I would also appreciate it if you dropped a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future uploads. I will continue to bring you guys tips, tricks, and guides to help you dominate in your games in Apex. And then if you guys want to dominate on the new map Broken Moon, then be sure to check out this video next. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'm Grizzy, and I'm out. Peace.